Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, it's DMG and welcome back to Blitz, and today we are into the new era of replays. These are replays, some of which are from people who would previously not have had the opportunity to submit replays because of their equipment, but now they can. And while this first one isn't from a replay file in the in-game replay system, Azar AI in the WZ-113 Tier 10 Chinese heavy tank is going to show us what this tank can do. Now, this tank was hyped up for a lot of different reasons, and it had supposed to have fantastic DPM, great penetration, good armor, basically everything you could want in a tank. But the thing that really kills it for me in this tank is that it has a mid-mount turret, and it has some pretty nasty cupolas as well. If you really look at it, I mean, the cupolas aren't awful, but they're enough to make you squeam or squirm a little bit, right? I mean, they make you a little bit squeamish when you try and drive this tank. It kind of reminds me of a Glacial 112, right? But point is here, Ace has taken a great position, or that's the nickname for our 113 driver in my clan, SRT. Ace is going to be taking a lovely position, then pushing against this, I believe that was the E50? No, IS4? I can't even tell. It's so small on my screen. Anyways, pushing around, getting caught in between a wall and an FV215B. This E4 has a really nasty gun. Can't afford to poke your really weak side of the Chinese tank in front of those guns like that, so it has to be very careful. Now, the WZ-110 is quite quick in a straight line and can reverse back quite quickly. The traverse leaves something to be desired, but it is quite decent otherwise. Is this a tank that I would recommend to pick up? It really is your preference on the pros and cons. Is it worth it to you? I'm not going to tell you to not pick it up. It's not like a Churchill gun carrier kind of awful, right? But it's not, I would say, an IS-7 kind of reliable. And I really think it speaks to tournament play as well. When you still see more IS-7s than you do 113s, and there's a reason for that. It's because the IS-7 just has a more reliable armor profile. The turret is just Russian. The hull, the lower plate is smaller, and while the penetration and shell velocity is so much better on the WZ-113, for some reason the IS-7 is still used. I think probably because it carries that 60 more alpha, making it a little bit better in those early game trades where you're trying to whittle down your opponent to create that final push situation. Anyways, Ace is going to perform the Bushka Pancake, jump on top of the T110E5 and finish off the IS-8 right after. Ooh, not a very good roll there, but I'm not really sure even with a high roll using the precision fire skill that would have penned anyway. Anyways, this has been a great replay so far, showcasing the strengths of the speed, the DPM, the shell velocity, being able to hit those shots, and they win by cap in this scenario, and Ace receives a Ace Tanker Mastery Badge fitting to his name. 4,710 damage, 2 destroyed. Lovely stuff there. WZ-113 masteries are pretty easy to farm because no one really plays the tank. Not really sure if that's because of unpopularity or because it is not played too often as it is a new line. I guess time will tell, right? Anyways, next replay. This is from Casey. 19... I forget the numbers because I usually just call him Casey. Casey was a former straight member in the Aim True clan and participated in numerous tournament battles for myself, helping my team win key matches against some very, very high-level clans. Anyways, Centurion 7-1, lovely, lovely tank. I really enjoy it. I mean, not only it looks a treat, right? I love the look of the turret. Like, it has those kind of shields around it and makes it look kind of futuristic and modern. The gun is lovely, but not always, because Hatch is going to be really finicky right there as Casey only rolls above 100 in the Centurion 7-1 against the T-54E1. Those American turds can be a little iffy sometimes, and I really think this replay shows that people really need to learn how to use Hesh. I'm not saying Casey is a bad Hesh user. I'm more saying that if people understand in general the right situations to use Hesh, Casey's damage output and maybe game results would have been a little bit better. I'm not to say that they are bad by any means. I'm just saying that it could be better. And this is taking your gameplay from the next step from good to great, or great to superior, right? And knowing these kinds of, or having this kind of critique even for like the really small micro actions is very, very important. And Casey's going to hit the shot right on the Foch. Centurion 7-1 turret is bouncy a little bit on the side and achieves one against the Jagdtiger 88. Hesh is going to have some great effect here, putting shots into the lower plate. And the Centurion 7-1's gun is so accurate. Is able to put in these shots from distance. And I'm not really sure if he's running calibrated shells or not, but having this amount of penetration on your Hesh to go frontally through a lot of targets with 440 average alpha is quite ridiculous for a tier 9 medium tank. Going against light tanks, a tier lower, it is quite dangerous. Going against any same tier tank, you can out DPM them given you pen your Hesh shells, and it does have very, very solid standard shells to boot. APCR at about 255 millimeters base penetration, not running calibrated shells, allows you to go through most targets accurately with ease. And this is where Hesh would come really in handy right here, because maybe Casey would have set him on fire. I'm not sure if he knows that the Type 59 side can be Heshed, but he decides to go for the more consistent APCR and finish him off in 2 rounds. However, having Hesh, as I said in the last video I did with the FV4202, allows tanks like the FV4202 and the Centurion 7-1 in this case to create damage opportunities or create scenarios that it would otherwise be unable to create if it didn't have the Hesh. And I mean, being able to really rip apart a flank or the butt of a tank can make the difference in terms of shots to kill, which inevitably turns into time to kill, that creates scenarios where you may not be, taking as many shots, your teammate may stay alive, something like that, right? And a lovely, lovely little rush over the hill right into the STA, pushes the STA up onto the side, gets in another shot, and the STA gets taken out of the game by the team. And as you saw, a Tiger 2 bounces off the ass of an IS-5. However, great game there for Casey. Mastery badge, very, very characteristic of an aim true player. I would expect nothing less from him, and that was a very, very lovely game to watch. Our next feature will be for a long-time subscriber, and I'm sure they'll be very excited to be featured on the channel. This time we are watching Ariel the Beast from C4XX playing in the Tier 10 Soviet heavy tank. It is the IS-4. Now, unlike the IS-7, the IS-4 is known for outstanding side-scraping armor profile and has the ability to penetrate the cheeks of a mouse with ease running calibrated shells. And we see that someone has been watching my flutter technique a little bit too much and has kind of rubbed off on the gameplay, as we can already see the slight scope in, scope out, quick reflex that I usually do. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but salute to you, Ariel, for kind of picking up on my, I guess, still one unique tech in the game. Now, while I personally don't like the IS-4 as a tank, that does not stop Ariel from making a great tactical decision as she goes to the corner immediately and is able to go haul down against enemy heavy tanks, medium tanks, tank destroyers, if they come over here. But it looks like they are going down, so Ariel is now caught a little bit out of position. Luckily, the IS-4 does have the speed enough, or it's adequate enough to compensate for being slightly out of position in this scenario. Now Ariel is going to go and engage heavy tanks, and this is where the IS-4 can be very, very effective. It has heat pen, which is lovely. It has 420 alpha. That's what you get on, say, an ST1 or an IS-8, a tier lower, but it still is higher than the T110E5 and FV215V. It's weird how a 2mm shell caliber difference somehow equates to a 20 difference in alpha, 20 damage difference in alpha. And the IS-4's gun is quite good for a heavy tank. As you can see, Ariel snaps in a lovely shot into the tier 10 German heavy tank, the E100, and personally the one that I would rather be driving. Anyways, this replay is not about me. IS-4 does not have the best side armor, despite it being a side-scraping heavy tank in its theme. It got its front armor buff, but its side armor nerfed, and it is a little bit weak to HE, and that's why I personally don't like it. But Ariel is doing a very good job of using the armor well, getting 2 bounces in a row there, and being able to put in shots against that IS-8 and having his teammate confirm the kill, or her teammate confirm the kill, excuse me. Anyways, Ariel now pushing into the mouse, needs to pen. Mouse is a very dangerous target, needs to die. You know, especially in public games, right? Because tournament players will be able to pen the mouse with heat. They'll know. But against public players, you know, if public players struggle to pen the mouse, it can really do a number and a wallop on the team. And maybe that's why that tier 10 German super heavy tank wins about 55% of its games in public and probably needs a nerf for all intents and purposes, right? Anyways, IS-4, heat pen through the roof, needs to pen this mouse to get the kill. A lovely, lovely snapshot into the lower plate of the mouse for the kill, and now is on half health, should be able to take on 2 tanks, or at least 1 tank. E100's trying to isolate him, and the E100 fires, doesn't expect Ariel to come around the corner, thinking that he can probably isolate Ariel a little bit in a slow fashion, but Ariel takes his chance well, aims for the turret ring of the E100. This is a weak point, pens for a nice full roll using AP, and is able to continue fighting, takes a shot from the IS-8, needs to turn and kill the one-shot tank, repairs the tracks, backs up, hits a shot on the IS-8, kills, and right back into the E100, into a face hug, angles, wiggle, wiggle, there we go, and the E100 bounces an AP round off, or excuse me, a heat round off of the IS-4's front. And this is where the IS-4, it can be kind of dangerous. Switching to heat, looking into the cheeks of the E100. E100 has to face to pen, and boom, right into the cheek for a final kill shot. Good stuff, Ariel. Love to have you as a longtime subscriber of the channel. This person has helped me get numerous subscribers to the channel, so I cannot thank them enough, and I am very happy to feature them on my channel whenever I have the opportunity. Anyways, next replay will be of the ARL-44 from a member of my clan currently, like Ace. Now, this is going to be GT Reaper. GT Reaper is a older member of SRT and is playing the tier 6 French heavy tank. This tank for me is kind of like a Tiger 2 at tier 6, but a little weaker, but with a little bit more gun. Now the gun is great, don't get me wrong, but for a heavy tank, I'm not really sure if you need all that gun. And it kind of has a front like a Tiger 2. The upper front plate is a nice slope to it, can bounce a lot of shells, but the turret is weaker than you'd expect. Actually, with the ARL-44, you can pen the side of the turret with HE reliably with 76mm guns and up. Or I'm not exactly sure of the Jesus Christ, too many Russian tanks, right? But I'm not really sure of the side turret armor of the ARL-44, but I remember playing the M4 Shrieking and being able to pen the side of the turret with HE, and also playing the Hellcat, I was able to pen the side of the turret with HE quite reliably. So with a weak turret, it makes it kind of difficult to go haul down, but at least the front plate is good. And at tier 6, where people are starting to become more comfortable with armor angles, people would usually aim for the hull over the turret, as it's a larger target and is most likely weaker. The ARL's front hull is actually pretty strong, as you can see that Cromwell, having decent penetration on the standard rounds, not the best, but decent, bounces off the ARL's front plate. As GT Reaper wiggles in a kind of a lightning bolt kind of fashion that I personally like to do, and is able to bounce shells quite reliably. Now, ARL has a lovely rate of fire. Personally, not my favorite, as I think the T150 tier for tier is maybe a little better, but the ARL does have a nice gun, and for all that the T150 has, it still does have a slight bit of a cupola issue. Now, as you can see, that front plate going to work there. Now, if that IS-2 is trying to shoot the turret, he's probably going to pen, but he's thinking, okay, if I just shoot the hull, I'm going to pen. Well, the ARL doesn't work like that. It has a good front plate, making it quite difficult, and the IS just decides to turn around and shoot something else, or in this case, the IS-2. But you don't want to turn your back to this tank, because it does have decent DPM for a heavy. A 90mm gun shooting a decent amount of rounds per minute, and a nice front plate means that if it gets to your flank, you're going to have a hard time running away from it, or in this case, turning around and engaging it. GT Reaper has asked for critiques in this video, and as I've been watching, there really haven't been many. I thought that, right from the get-go, he's done the right things. The only iffy play that I saw was maybe going up onto that middle ridge and trying to spot there. That may not be the best location for the ARL-44, but I can see why you made the decision. It just may have not been the best. Going for the tracks right there on the T150. Another little small thing there that may have helped us to dab that 2 key, going for APCR and making sure you confirm your kill. You don't want to leave tanks alive, especially when they're within a 1 roll of premium ammunition, or well below an average roll for premium ammunition. At least confirm your kill. I hate it when people bounce a shot on a 1-shot tank. And there's the ARL accuracy going to work again, as you just saw on that Dracula moving, hits the shot right into the tiny exposed portion of the Dracula behind that rock. And the Dracula finally gets finished off for the kill. Anyways, great stuff there, GT Reaper. Love to commentate on your replay. Like I said, very good game. A slightly questionable decision, but it worked out well for you. Anyways, if you enjoyed that content, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you didn't, please leave your constructive criticism in the comment section. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to share my passion with you today, and I hope to see you next time.